to the EQ Video Tip. I'm your host, Eric Forsetter. As always, thank you again for watching a great show on the EQ Video Tip. Before we jump in, let's review the goals of EQ Video Tip. What's on tap for today? Well, we all have big goals and sometimes we fall short of them. What we're going to talk today about is a great article by Jeff Hayden who talks about how to set and more importantly how to achieve your biggest goals. And this is all backed by neuroscience. Let's face it, we all have these goals and from time to time we fail in terms of actually getting to the point where we achieve that goal. And how do we thrive in business? How do we thrive in our lives? Well, we have to figure out ways to get our brain to put into action what we want to actually do, what we actually want to achieve. And to do that, we have to activate different parts of our brain to just not only be accounted for, but to actually do the work for these goals. So we're going to go through a great double episode by Jeff Hayden on how to achieve your biggest goals, and this is all backed by neuroscience. Tip number one, set a priority goal. What do we mean by a priority goal? Well, which goal is most important for you right now? Because having too many goals means that you're going to fail to one degree or another at all of them or some of them. And the more ambitious you are, the more likely you're going to suffer from what we call goal creep as opposed to scope creep. So the key is pick one goal and stick to it. Pick the most important one, the biggest priority. It doesn't mean that you can't have other goals like learning or staying fit. They can be sub-goals, but pick that one goal, set it as the priority, and that's what you're going to work towards. Tip number two. Now, we told you to pick a goal, but which goal should we pick? Well, set a really, really big goal. And if you choose a goal that's too easy to accomplish, your orbital prefrontal cortex right up here won't generate sufficient levels of arousal, to actually make you drive to action and do that goal. So consider what a big goal is and give yourself a little discomfort. Make it a little harder, because if you say to yourself, Jesus is too easy or Jesus is too hard, then it's hard for you to actually get motivated. You need to rewire your brain and make sure that you're going to go put into action what needs to be done. So yeah, make a big goal, make it a priority, and let's make it happen. Tip number three, and I love this tip, define the actions associated with the goal. Think about it this way. If you just have an idea with no action, it's not really a goal, it's just a dream of what you want to do. So what you need to do is actually define a business plan or an engagement plan or work backwards from what your goal is. Figure out what the end state where you want to be and then work backwards and decide what are the steps that you want to do. If you were going to run a marathon, you don't just get up one day and run the marathon. In fact, you go out and you plan different trainings for how long you're going to run for a week, a month, the next few months, and figure that out. You want to be the person who's putting together the plan for yourself. And if you're a leader, you want to have the nuts and bolts involved in motivating people, inspiring them, developing them, and coaching them. Do the same thing for yourself as well. How long am I going to work on this? How often am I going to do it? What are the actions required for me to do it? And the routine makes that focus for you so that the process gets done and that you're focused and you complete it. Remember, if you just have ideas with no goals in mind or with no action plan, then you just have a dream. And we want to have actions associated with that goal. Our last tip, measure your actions. For example, if you're trying to save $10,000, tracking where you stand is fine, but it's more important to track the action of saving $100 a day or a week or figuring out what it is. If your action is to call 5 prospects a week, track it. It's easy to track. Figure those things out. But physically writing down, even putting a checkbox or an X next to what you're doing every week or every day, gives you the opportunity to see that you're making advancements towards that goal. And by check marking the tasks, it reinforces in your nervous system that you're actually accomplishing something. So take the time to actually measure your actions on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis so that you will see that you're achieving your goals. That's a wrap for the first half of Jeff Hayden's How to Achieve Your Goals EQ video tip. We'll come back next week to talk about the other 5 goals or other 5 steps to make that goal happen in reality. So that concludes our EQ video tip for today. Try incorporating some of these tips into your daily routine. But remember, use what works best for you and personalize it for yourself. Thank you always to our great research team for providing us with some great tips today. As always on EQ Video Tip, we want to end with gratitude. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Here are some resources that you can use if you want more information on EQ going forward. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.